Welcome to another episode of Absolute AppSec After Dark. I'm Seth Law at Seth Law on Twitter, joined by my co-host, as always, Ken Johnson at CK Tricky on Twitter. Ken, say hi.
Hi. Apparently we're doing a little different tonight. It's gonna get weird. No.
It's gonna get weird. Well, I don't know if you read the show notes about After Dark is adults only, apparently. So
Yeah, there's gonna be not profuse profanity, but I'm sure there's gonna be some of that. So, got kids in the room. Just don't have kids in the room. Be the recommendation there. So
yes.
Man, so we should probably just start with what we did discuss what we did last time for everybody. Yeah. So if you didn't see the last time, I'm just going to talk about the platform, and you can talk about the finding you had, and that was the last place that we left off. So we looked at apps. We decided out of the open source apps that Laravel Laravel.io, their community webpage is built on the Laravel framework in PHP, and we don't know it well. So it's a lot of us figuring out how the framework works, discussing our technique, and trying to apply that to something we've never seen before. So that's basically what this is. We got to the point where we had the behavior profiling section. We had the tech stack done. We had some risks jotted down based off that information, things that we thought might present more risk than anything else in the application, where we would actually focus our efforts. And then as we were going through the, I think, authentication portion of the checklist, I actually have to go look. You found that's where we came to your finding. And do you want to kind of dig in there?
Sure.
Yeah, it was authentication.
Yep. And this happened during the registration process, right? And I'm trying to remember. I'm looking down here. Yeah, there's I believe it's email verify. Is that where it's at? Okay. So, basically, so what happens here is that, and we should probably start doing screen shares, right? Because that's the auth web.php. There is a register, that calls to register post. Right. So there's a registration controller that we were taking a look at. Hold on. I think I will share my screen, right?
Go for it. I'm actually I decided to actually try and install Composer and run the dependency install and see if I can get some routes printed out while you're doing that. So
okay. Yep. All right. So let me share. Okay. So we're looking at web.php here, right? And maybe I can make that a little bit bigger. I don't know if that actually helps anything, but we'll see. So within web.php, there is a register, right? There's this register controller that allows for registration. Now, the one thing we noticed with Laravel.io is the registration is special, right? It actually takes, you have to authorize Laravel.io to pull your email address and your information from your GitHub profile, right? So, if we're taking a look at Laravel.io, and this is what I noticed from tracing the code, right? You click on this registration function and you'll notice, hey, we require you to log in with your GitHub account. All right, that's great. So you have to go to GitHub. You have to fill out, there's anybody wants my Gmail address. There it is. But that's my username. You can agree to the rules of the portal. You can register. But the interesting thing here is these are user-controlled parameters, right? So, and I found this in this register controller.class. So if we jump into the classes themselves, I'm trying to remember where it actually is because it's been a couple weeks. Controllers, auth, register controller.
It's been like 4 or 5 weeks, actually. It's been a while. That's why neither. I think it was the GitHub user ID and the callback was exposed in the source page or source code of the page, and then we just modified it on the registration
on the
call.
fly, right? So I think that's in here, right? If I remember right, I didn't even have to actually use. Yeah, there's a form group that's up above here that's hidden. Oh, that's the name. Oh, here you go. This is what it is. This GitHub ID and GitHub username that you see are both, they're both hidden parameters, but they are user controlled. And so, of course, right, like, the first thing that we do is I start thinking, oh, crap, I can impersonate basically anybody else that I want that has GitHub user ID that is not in there. And so what I did, and I haven't deleted this yet, Ken, but
have you not?
I wanted to prove it out, right? So I'm like, hey, I'm going to log in as CK Tricky because I know that's Ken.
Jerk.
Let's see if that works. Oh, wait, that's the wrong cred. Oh, that's why, yeah. Tricky. Oh, man. I can't remember what the creds are.
No,
I set up.
I don't remember either.
I'm pretty sure that's it. There we go. Yep. Woohoo! So I am CK Tricky. So I basically took over your account on Laravel.io and it pulled the data from your account. You'll notice that like this image is actually directly from your GitHub ID, right? And I know this is all public. This probably isn't the most major problem that there is there. But the link does go to your GitHub rather than mine. And I was able to take it off. Yeah, there you go. CK Tricky, Seth plus CK Tricky at absoluteappsec.com. Woohoo.
But you know what, Seth? Yeah. Identity theft is not a joke. Okay.
It's not a joke. Yes.
It's not a joke.
But somehow I'm just going to maintain that until they fix it. Just because, I think it's funny. Yeah.
It is funny.
Again, it is funny. Like, part of me wants to go run through and those IDs. That's the other fun thing here, right? Those IDs, these ID parameters that's easily enumerable, right? Like you can go onto github.com and figure out what anybody's ID is. So if you wanted to represent yourself as a big name, you could. What are you saying?
By the way, last episode, the Greg that provided me with my user ID while I was looking it up, that was my boss.
It was your boss?
Yeah, this is awesome. It's cool that he's watching. One thing I think we could give to people here too is that when you see like a pattern, so we'll have a pattern here where we instantiate a model record, and we do that with user supplied input. So what we'll end up doing is trying to find anywhere else that basically handles data like that as well. We're not going to do it and jump around right now and look for all the variants right now. Rather, we'll make a note of it so that we can go back and look for anywhere else in the code base that might align with that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did, right? So in this register controller.php, the reason I discovered this one is I was in here looking at registration and I noticed there was a validator function that validated the data that it came in, and then it created the user based upon that and dispatched, right, from the request. And so all I did was check and say, okay, what is this validator like? It's doing a register request to check and see what rules are associated with it. Right. So obviously there's a register request, class. And this is exactly the process that I followed to find this one, right? HTTP request, register request. All right, authorize. What are the rules? You'll notice there's not a lot of validation here, right? The rules are basically what's required and what's not. As long as the GitHub ID exists, it doesn't matter. And,
wow.
Yeah. So I you can basically become whoever you want or impersonate whoever you want, right? If I was being malicious with Laravel.io, I'd probably start targeting developers, PHP developers that have quote unquote big names. I guess are there big name PHP developers anymore, Ken? So
I haven't a clue. I haven't
yeah.
a clue.
But we could
It's Mark
target them.
Zuckerberg. That's
Yeah,
who.
that's what I'm gonna do. Let's see what's Zuck's
Become Zuck.
as far as Laravel.io, and then start suggesting changes to Laravel based upon that. But this is exactly what I did. I just came in here and I looked. Okay, what are these rules? Hey, there's nothing that's really that would prevent me from inserting my controlled parameters in there. That's all it was. And then I went and tried it out. Luckily, in this case, we do have the production instance of Laravel.io to play with. Ken's setting up a development instance.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Yep. It looks like I'm making progress. So that's good.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, that's good. But anyway, so that was the first real vulnerability that we found with Laravel.io just at the end of the last couple hour session that we did. The last after dark session of Absolute AppSec.
You sound like we're on NPR. You really do. I say that with love.
That's what I'm going for, Ket.
Oh, good times. Good times.
Good times. Good times. Well, yeah. I mean, and yeah, you'll see some the GitHub controller in here is doing some stuff. But it's redirecting the route back to the profile. There may be some more interesting things here with this GitHub controller. I haven't necessarily played with it yet, right?
And that's the thing. We make a note of it, right? So that I'm obviously this, but for everybody else, we'll make a note of it, and then it may come into play later if there's typically the most awesome vulnerabilities are the ones that are multiple vulnerabilities really chained together for I mean, minus log4j, minus really cool vulns usually are chained together. So
log4j. Well, I mean, you could argue that. Well, let's not get into that, right?
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, you can make that argument. You're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So show registration form. So this is that post that I was just dealing with. Register class. So it does a register.post within the register controller. And it looks like that is some sort of because that's not a part of this here. It's obviously calling back to. I'm just retracing my steps at this point where it has been a month, right? This register controller class extends controller, which is so there's got to be a post request in here somewhere under controller. Controllers, controller.php extends base controller, of course, because it's never that easy, right?
No,
so Illuminate routing controller. Okay, so Illuminate. Illuminate is the base framework that they're using, right? Those are all internal Laravel functions, right? So Illuminate base controller. Mm-hmm. Laravel.com controller, base controller. This is where we should have the post. And this is probably where it's telling us that it's routing controller. Oops. So you guys watch me stumble around. That's what After Dark is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Auth register users. Oh, see validator contract. Yeah, so those are all these are all just framework supported functions that use that register. It's the framework that supports what we're actually doing here, right? So it's doing the validation on the incoming request, and then it does the create based upon that, I think, from the post itself. Obviously it's working, right? Because I was able to do it, but yeah, foundation.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice discovery though. Oh, there's logging. Logging is amazing.
Yay.
Yay. Foundation. Auth register users. Let's see what it says about that. Okay, register, handle a registration request, register, request. Is that what we were looking at here? Let's register users.
I'm like wondering if I should be bouncing between trying to set this up and watching you, because like I lose track of where you're at pretty quickly.
We all do, right? Like that's part of the problem. But we are, we've got the review notes. I should pull them over into that.
Configure database connection. Laravel.
Oh, look at Ken do this. Okay.
It's so basic. I mean, honestly, like this is just, embarrassing how little I know about this. But that's the beauty of this. That's the test. Wouldn't be fun if it wasn't a challenge.
Yeah. So these are the notes, and maybe I'll just review the notes that we've got really quick, right? While you're setting that up, and how we're actually structuring our review. So the first thing that we did obviously was the commit number that we were looking at. And actually the one I'm looking at is probably further along than that. We'd probably want to update that based on where we're currently at. But the notes itself, this community site, external users, community users, we don't know what their biggest concerns are. The admin, moderators, and users, we haven't dug into that yet, but this is all just the tech stack. Yeah.
What? Yeah, that's of high interest, is the administrative aspects of this.
Yep. OAuth with GitHub. I don't think it's really OAuth. I'm going to be honest. The way that they're doing this. No, because I was able to set an actual password, right? So if I register, right, because I haven't registered.
It's bogus. No, it's like
OAuth. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean it's more like it's more like almost completing the handshake, because they do the callback to GitHub, right? And then they get you sign in with GitHub. GitHub redirects you to the URL, to the OAuth
to
client.
This yeah.
But then when you get there, it stops short of actually making a creation of the user based off the data returned from GitHub, and instead pre-populates a registration form with the data returned by GitHub, and then you edit it as exactly as needed, and then you go through. So it's not, you're right, it's using elements of OAuth, but it's not actually like truly OAuth in that sense. Also, like, because they're not actually, because if it was a true end-to-end OAuth handshake, they should be validating that the state parameter, and the state parameter should be such that like you're not able to manipulate the content like we are, right? So whatever gets returned should, in theory, all it should, you should feel good that someone didn't force you to basically perform an OAuth sign in. Basically, that's about it. It doesn't actually keep the data integrity in check, but it does actually make sure that you didn't just somebody didn't force you through that flow. And none of that can be done though, because it's like stopping the handshake like halfway. I think that's right. I don't know, it's late and I'm drinking wine, but
well, okay, so this is interesting, right? Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like it's weird. It's not true OAuth, right? And so even though they claim I mean, I guess it is, but it's only the first part
Right.
to what you're saying, right? Because I hit the registration page after I log out as CK Tricky because I am CK Tricky. Um, but I hit it, and what you see is I see the request going to GitHub. So I'm just reviewing the inspecting the actual traffic that's going back and forth. I see authorize with client ID going to GitHub. Let's see what the general looks like. Yep, GitHub login OAuth GitHub. It's pulling the code back, but then the registration page. So apparently Laravel.io is making a call to pull that data back, but then exactly what you're saying, it's just pre-populating the form. When I actually do a login, uh, login does not require OAuth. So it's not a true SSO. It's
Yeah.
using the internal. Oh, I guess there is a GitHub login that I can hit.
But I think it just makes you
Interesting.
register, right? I don't know. I actually don't know. Let's see what it does.
No, it does. It just makes you register if you're not registered, right? That's all that login does. So yeah, it's all internal hosted credentials. It's not true OAuth, which is
Do you
weird
want
to me, right? Like, why do you go through the trouble of setting up that first half if you're not going to finish? I don't
I
understand.
think it's because they're pulling your profile. So they're pulling certain details, right? They're pulling your, and I'm guessing they might be actually contacting the GitHub API for this. But
Uh-huh.
they're using your GitHub ID. They're then pulling from GitHub where your avatar image is and any other details that you've put on your. Yeah, basically anything that you've put on your GitHub profile. I imagine they're pulling the GitHub API, giving that GitHub ID, and that I mean, we can look to the source, but that's my assumption anyways. Yeah. If we follow that registration end to end and it creates the record, where does it
It
create the record?
does.
That's
It
Oh, that's
does.
what it
Because
does. I
yeah.
sorry, I'm
So it doesn't. It
bouncing
doesn't.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying is the register controller does the create based on the data after it runs it through the validator, but all that does is calls register user from request, right? So if I'm looking at where's register user pulling from, apps, jobs, register user, right? And this was the trace that I did last time around.
Well, we're kind of getting back into it.
Yeah.
And dude, I was dog shit tired last time, so uh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is it, right? This is all that it does is pulls from the request the name, email address, username, GitHub username. But this kills me, right? Like it's doing a new self, right?
Mm-hmm.
A new registration request. So I guess we could look at the register request up here, right? Oh no, that's the inbound. That's what we were looking at.
Neil wrote, "This doesn't look like Rails."
It does not.
You know what's funny though? I did actually, as I was like looking for some information on the framework, I ran a I ran across Laracast, so it's like Railscast, but for Laravel apparently. So that's a thing. That's a thing. And also, I guess this is a good time to plug. Neil will be on the podcast. Well, what is so not this Tuesday, but the
Couple
following
weeks.
Tuesday. Yeah, a couple
Yeah.
weeks. So might as well plug it while we're here.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So it does. This is interesting. Yeah. So GitHub username, GitHub ID. You're going to replace both of those. You can change whatever. So basically, you can choose whatever username you want on Laravel.io. But there's no validation, right? It's not validating that OAuth request to make sure that this GitHub user ID and GitHub ID, and this is where it should be happening. Wow, man, I cannot talk.
No,
It might
yeah.
it
Well,
might
you're
be the
doing a lot.
whiskey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whiskey and rum, or was it rum and coke or whiskey and coke?
it's whiskey and coke.
Nice, like manly drink. I've got this wine in a
This
like
wine, This wine, we
Very.
truly are on KUE K KUAA Absolute AppSec.
All right. So then, like, I guess they have to be polling the API, the GitHub API, and I'm wondering where they're doing that at. That is for sure a question I have.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can figure that out pretty quickly, right? Because it doesn't get to the register request until it's actually made that call. There is a GitHub, let's see. So register controller, when we're generating, oh, no, let me go all the way back. Okay. So what we've discovered under routes, there is a number of different routes that we're starting to look at. And we're really starting to jump down the rabbit hole. Again, we're on authentication routes at this point. It is appropriate for us to dig into it because we've already kind of enumerated out different things. So whatever, right?
Why don't I put in, how about this? Why don't I put in our notes for that specific route?
Uh-huh.
And to be clear,
You have
oh,
it.
okay, you've got it. Excuse me, I'm trying not to burp in the freaking mic here. Yeah, I think we put a note under there that, like, hey, we're pulling information. Let's at some point investigate where we're pulling that information from. Because to Seth's point, this is going to be a huge review. We've got to move through it fairly quickly. And when it comes to authentication, we need to look at the sign in, the registration. We need to look at the any account editing or update functionality. We need to look at any forgot password style functionality. And really anything else like that relates to authentication. If there's any like ability, I don't think there is, but if there was any ability to like generate like a token that you would use to access, say, the API or something like that, but that's your identity, we'd have to know that. We'd have to record that and look at that.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, these are all the it looks like these are all the authentication related endpoints. There's the social authentication endpoints there at the bottom. That's interesting. Yeah.
Which don't really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not probably very interesting because those are, I mean, maybe we still have to look at them, but yeah. But like auth GitHub, I know that's just a callback point, or that's just a point for you to get started, like to log in with GitHub. Or maybe it's a callback for GitHub. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, request timed out. Please try again. So that one doesn't even, unless I'm not going through it right because I have to click on login GitHub first, which goes to auth GitHub, which probably redirects me. Okay, so we could take a look and see what's actually going on there because it does make all those different requests. So let's try that again. And I'm using the running instance here to short circuit my own suspicions, right? Rather than tracing through the code, but we could trace through the code as well. So if we do auth GitHub, right? Oh, that timed out. And never mind. We don't want that. We want to just click the GitHub button. All right. So what we can see here is, okay, we don't care about that. Okay. So the first thing it does is goes to login GitHub, which does a redirect to response headers. Let's see where it does the redirect to. GitHub, login, OAuth, authorize, right? But that's what we want to take a look at is the, login GitHub to see where it all launches there. So login GitHub, GitHub controller class, redirect to provider. So that's all that it's doing there.
Okay. That's what I would expect, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. Where's that redirect to provider? Okay. Oh, great. Socialite driver. So Socialite looks like it's pulling some information. It does a redirect to GitHub. I don't know a lot about Laravel Socialite, but I'm going to have to look that up. Laravel Socialite. I'm pretty sure that's a framework that's being used. Ooh, it is the PHP framework for web artisans. If you're not an artisan, don't try and use it. Let's see. Authentication. GitHub. It's not even a GitHub Actions. Nope. Digging deeper. Contracts. Getting started. What the hell? GitHub. Nope, that's it. This isn't even like using GitHub authentication. So it's just like the base level OAuth authentication that they're doing there. That's bizarre. Facade auth, socialite driver.
Sorry, I'm also still trying to troubleshoot this weird setup stuff. It's so freaking annoying. Why can't things just work? Now I feel like everybody that's ever contacted me and been like, hey, Rails is hard. I have issues getting it set up.
Okay, socialite providers website. GitHub, there you go. Okay, so this is what they're using. Composer require. So they've got client IDs and client secrets. Do you think they're up? Do you think they're in the source code, Ken? Do you?
Yes. Yes.
All right, let's go. Let's go digging. Woohoo!
I'm gonna guess. Yes. I'm flipping around like a maniac here. Config services.php. I know, me too. I'm all over the place.
Oh, good job, boys. Good job. Environment variables.
Yeah, you got some ENVs.
Yep, we got some ENVs. Good job. All right, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, cool. Now the question is like, how does that get in? Yeah, I mean, so the reason we're excited too is like if you ever get remote code execution on something, or you have the ability to run system commands and you can print out like the results of an ENV and it has all that stuff in there, it's awesome because in one fail swoop, usually you get like all the creds to all the things it connects to. So it's a typical common way of handling secrets. You know, it happens quite a bit. It's like a common strategy, but obviously it's not without some peril.
Yeah. Anytime you're handling sensitive tokens, it's not without peril.
Yeah. And typically people, tend to use something like Vault to access their secrets.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to throw that into interesting files, though, because that's fun.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Big services.php. Okay. So it looks like as long as you've got that configuration, it's going to make a call to the GitHub endpoint with a request for OAuth. And that's exactly what we're seeing. So, all right, that's great. So then the provider callback comes in and we're redirected to the login route. That's interesting. But if we're not registered, user found, get nickname. Oh, there's user, get username. It's pulling from socialite user, get nickname. Oh, redirect to registration page. So we get to the login page. It decides that the user does not exist. and automatically redirects them to the registration page, which then pulls GitHub data out of the session, posts it to the user, which is then accessible to the registration route. So the register route and a GET request does the show registration form out of the register controller. What? Where's that registration form?
That's why I'm having issues. Well, they're
because it's PHP.
No, it's because actually, speaking of .env, it's because it's not the freaking database config file that's actually being called to provide a MySQL password. It's this .env file actually. So at least that's what it looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can fix that. Yeah, and I don't understand that at all. It should be in the config file, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's how we usually do stuff.
Psh. Is it?
I thought. Usually I put my password, or well, not in source code, but you know what I mean, in a config, and that's what's picked up.
So show registration form. Okay. That's interesting. I'm trying to figure out how it's pulling that GitHub ID and password, right? Let's see if I can figure that out. That's only in the editor. I can do a search through the whole site.
Sweet, I've got a different error. Now it just needs to, now I actually need to just create the database Laravel. So getting closer, different error here.
Okay, so Laravel, that's definitely something coming from Laravel. Register controller. So it's probably that foundation auth your register users. But why would it? Oh, it's taking it from that request. And the register request.
Oh, we're past that. I got it installed. I got the DB installed. So now I'm doing npm install. So I can't wait for that to completely fuck up and ruin my night, but whatever. Okay, so where are you at? Sorry, I'm circling back to where you're at now. What's
I'm looking at, I'm trying to trace down where GitHub is actually, where it's actually pulling the GitHub username and password from.
Yeah,
right?
Where is it? That's the
GitHub ID and username. I mean, I can see it in the GitHub controller, right? Redirect user to registration page is taking the GitHub data and making it available, right?
Okay.
In the session to the register route. And that's a redirect response. GitHub users there. That's fine.
Wait, how's it getting in the session?
So basically, when you do that GitHub authentication, it redirects you to GitHub. The provider callback checks to see whether that user exists. If you've got one, if you're logged in, after it's done the OAuth, hey, is that token valid, right? Is it allowed to access this data? If it's not found, then it goes, if it user found, goes to user found, which then goes to the auth login process, which goes to profile. But this is what I'm saying is even if I'm logged in, and maybe it's because I'm always logged in as CK Tricky, and not as my Seth Log GitHub user,
right?
That it's not actually logging me all the way in. So I'm setting my password or based on that. But if you're not logged in, right, it's redirecting to the registration form if the user is not found, right?
Okay.
Yeah. GitHub, get raw, user not found, find by GitHub ID. Okay. So that's where that's going on. Handle provider callback. Yeah. So in user not found, it's redirecting to the registration page where it's providing that data from the session to the registration page, the GitHub data. And it's displaying the register controller, right? It's routing to register. And that's where I was at. Like I'm jumping back to the web.php. I'm like, where does register actually exist? Okay, here's the register controller, right? It's named as register. It's showing the registration form. That's where I was at as I'm trying to figure out where that registration form is coming from.
Oh, gotcha.
The registration form looks like it's coming from, well, the request is there. There's auth, register users. That's what I was saying is I think as a part of this foundation. Yeah.
By the way, I got Composer all the way set up. So I'm now just trying to get it running. Like literally like just spin it up and run it.
Yep. Okay, that's definitely show registration form is coming from this Illuminate Foundation framework. Giving a response. Showing the application registration form, but I'm not sure what that form actually looks like, right? I don't know why it's got those hidden fields on it. The GitHub user ID and the GitHub.
Oh yeah, where that's being populated at, the views?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Because in the create, okay. It's easy to figure out. Oh.
Where are the views at? Let's see.
Well, that's just it, right? Like if I'm looking at the views themselves.
Inputs, email, input, password, text. Oh, huh?
There's not a lot in there. There's views, forms, inputs, and it's just a.
This is one of those times where you have to go to the actual documentation.
I know. That's where it was at. Blah, blah, blah.
Hooray.
Come on. You are a web artisan.
Okay,
Show
look.
me how it's done.
Well, actually, I stumbled upon, though, something here. So we got resources, views, and users, and no, it should be auth. Sorry, auth. Log. Oh, blade.php. Is that so? Is Blade the template language?
It must be. Yep, that's it. I'm looking at it right now. Good catch. It was under resources instead. I was looking
which
at
is a weird.
Laravel. Yeah,
we'd have to normally look at the documentation, but I was kind of like, YOLO. I think we can figure this out quicker.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to note that really quick. I'm going to update our behavior.
So while Seth is doing that, I'm going to look at Blade's because he's going to note that I'm assuming you're going to note that Blade is the template template view. So then I'm going to go and I'm going to look at the documentation for Blade to see any possibility or any ways that you could possibly have the output not encoded, not escaped. Well, assuming it actually escaped. I mean, I do assume that it's escaping. Most libraries do that, but we've got it like, so you see there, he's got the href equals, and it's got, 2 curly braces. Sometimes it's like, if you put 3 curly braces in, then you have XSS, and it's user obviously controllable data. So we're going to go look at the Blade documentation while Seth's doing that and see what operators to search for that might introduce XSS. Once we know that, we will later, we could do obviously easily just a code search using just like the built-in editor search, project search. But another nice way to do it too is something like semgrep, because it's like a really powerful way, really quick way to write rules and then run them on the framework and get a nice little output of anywhere where those unsafe operators exist.
Yeah.
PHP documentation.
Okay, so this is definitely where the GitHub user ID and username are being pulled from the session object in those templates. Woohoo.
Yep, it says by default, Blade statements are automatically sent through PHP's HTML special characters function to prevent XSS attacks. If you do not want your data to be, and actually, let me just give you this link, Seth, so you can show people if you don't mind.
Yeah, send it over.
Showing people this, yeah, and you can just, people can just follow along with what you're showing. So here's the private chat. There's the link there in the private chat.
Displaying unescaped data. Hello. Oh.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But
so
if
we
you
just
do
need
not
this.
want your data to be escaped.
Bang bang. Woohoo.
We search for bang bang, we win. Curly brace, bang bang.
Views. Find in folder. Bang bang. Oh. Life sucks.
No results found. Oh. Ooh. Well, let's see if there's any other, because oftentimes people listening, Seth and I come across documentation, and it's like, there's like 3 ways to do it to like introduce XSS. Sometimes it's literally like a whole block of code that you put at the top or the bottom, and that'll disable it for the entire template. So
wow. So you may also use the @ symbol to inform the Blade rendering engine to an expression should remain untouched.
really,
I think this might be a nuance to Blade. I don't know though, right? Like, so what I'm looking at right here, what the documentation is saying about Blade and JavaScript frameworks.
oh, so that's another way to have where it's at curly brace, because isn't that what it's saying? It's saying like if you do the at curly brace, then that's how you tell a JavaScript framework it's there. So a JavaScript framework leaves it alone and just like has the,
or that Blade leaves it alone because it's depending on the JavaScript framework to handle it.
Nice. Let's search for that then.
But I'm only seeing the one. Man, my searching skills are rather poor, I think, right today.
I think you're doing a great job.
Because I'm only seeing even just like curly brace on register.blade.php. Is that really the only place that we're displaying output?
That isn't.
That can't be right. I'm failing.
That
can't be right.
It's got plenty of places where it's using curly brace. Are you doing a project or file search?
I might just be doing a.
So I do Command Shift because you're using code spaces, right?
Yeah, Command Shift.
So Command Shift F, I think is what I don't know. I have to think of, Command Shift F.
Yeah, if I do curly brace.
Oh, it's got the files to include there, I think, or no? I don't
know. I'm using it inside of Chrome, so I might be. Yeah, because it's only showing the current like open editors. That's weird. I want it to show everything. Come on, guys. It's in one file. That's weird. Okay. This might just be an artifact of me using Chrome.
Spaces.
Yeah, code spaces Chrome. Online. Yeah, Chrome. The online version versus the Visual Studio Code version. But
yeah. I'm searching the Blade documentation still to see if there's any other like weird things that you can do.
Add error username. Okay. So we found the one vulnerability. Let's step into some other stuff because we've been going for an hour.
Oh yeah, shit.
We may go longer tonight, Ken. I don't know. Like depends on how long I can. Yeah, I can handle the triple shot or whatever I put in this.
Let's see, possible XSS. Element includes blah, blah, blah.
What are you looking
I'm
at
actually
now?
I'm just looking at like XSS and Blade. I'm just looking at any resource I can find for people that have found XSS via href attribute. If you are outputting user provided value as a link, here's something. Turn it to example using JavaScript. So, oh, cool. So interesting. So if any of the hrefs include user supplied input, it likely is vulnerable to like the JavaScript, colon, and then some JavaScript type fun stuff.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know if that's still true in this version. And it's before outputting, you can replace anything. Yeah, so if they're creating, I mean, we see plenty of places where href is crafted with some dynamic content. So I think if you control that, you may have, according to this anyways, you'll have some issues. According to Cyber Panda.
Well, if we know anything about pandas, they know their XSS.
Sad pandas. XSS via custom directive. Oh, interesting. So if there's any Blade directives used and it's returning any user supplied input, it's vulnerable. If you have custom Blade directives in your, let me just give you this link. So, because I feel like I'm just,
I mean, I'm just searching through, looking at places where we're displaying input. Ooh, URL, hero image. Okay, let's see what Cyber Panda has to say.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hit that. Ah, crap. I'm trying to put it back on the thing. I accidentally clicked on the screen as I was switching over. Oh, Hoodie Pony. What's up, man? Daniel. So,
Daniel!
Me just doxing him.
Oh, sorry. Hoodie Pony! Woo! Go to the documentation.
Oh, man, I was supposed to set up a happy hour, too, a virtual happy hour with...
That's right, with Hoodie Pony.
I am the worst.
Man, we're failing.
Hey, man, I'm approaching 40. I'm getting up to your senile years. Say that with love.
Okay, what am I looking at here?
I don't fucking know. What were we looking at? So right. I sent you a link for, there's other ways. Okay. So just along the lines of, and by the way, this is why we don't just search the documentation. Because if you look out there at the research, obviously, if you look at the research that's been done by other people, there's, some weird edge casey things. That's what we were trying to sort of, allude to, is that
framework nuances brought to you by Absolute AppSec. Yep.
Right. So that's what we're trying to figure out. And we're not necessarily going to delve into that right away and just look for XSS. That's not part of our, it is part of our methodology, but it's not like what we do right away. This is part of us trying to figure out, what we talked about when we were going through the brainstorming, when we were going through the behavior profiling, we were going through the tech stack in the last episode, and in our training that we give people, we always tell you, look, you're going to bounce back and forth between these things. So we start to get into it. We have a question about where does the, output go here? Where is it rendered? Oh, okay. What's the rendering engine? Okay, it's Blade. All right, then we have to figure out, now that we're bouncing back completely out of tracing route stuff, completely out of looking at authentication, and we're bouncing all the way back to tech stack in the beginning, we have to then say okay, because it's Blade, are there ways to introduce XSS? What are the known ways documented? What are the maybe edge casey ways? And then we'll go back to, after we've documented that, we won't search for it right away. We're going to instead go back to our, tracing through our checklists and through our routes.
Yep. And that's what I was doing right now, Ken, as I'm going through this article, and I'm like, oh, we need to look for curly brace, bang, bang, right? We need to look for H8 href attributes, right? Like, so this is a good list for us to start with when we're dealing with blade templates. We may as well throw them in there to make sure we check it, right?
Yeah, and then like one other tip for yes, and then one other tip for people is that as you like, this is my first time for sure going and looking at Laravel. Like, if I think I'm going to ever potentially look at another Laravel framework, it behooves me to start to write checklists based off of. So, like, after this entire review is over, I'll want to extrapolate what are the things I can use for the next time to like speed it up. So I'll say, okay, if it's Blade, for instance, here are the things that we would look for that might be concerning. If it's using a built-in Laravel ORM that has maybe some known methods that if you call them, they're either inherently insecure, or you could introduce and call them incorrectly or incorrectly, insecurely, and introduce a vulnerability. What are they? Okay, let's document that. And that's how you start to build your like checklist of, this is my vanilla Laravel checklist, and then I'll add in my other stuff, which is like authentication, authorization, auditing stuff. I'll bake that into that checklist. And that's really how you start to mix and match your checklists, and you become more and more efficient at this stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, a couple of these edge cases, this could have some interesting stuff, right? Because the Laravel.io allows for links to other places, right? I know in the profile you can set up websites. This could very well be something that we can find a vulnerability with, right? This XSSN href attributes. So
nice, yes.
So I've noted
I think
it.
That's probably the most likely.
Yeah, I'm going to move this down.
Yeah.
Risks.
Because I saw a lot of hrefs being generated with dynamic content. Whether that's user supplied, I mean, we'll find out, sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time searching the code base, so I may depend on you for that. But yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Cool.
So
where are we at? Yeah. Where are we at? Where do we want to go?
Our authentication. We were working through our authentication checklist. So I think the next thing to do personally is to look at, we've already looked at registration. Well, we need to look at the login. We need to figure out like, how are credentials being hashed? Like, we know there's passwords, so are they being hashed? We need to know how the comparisons occurring, if there are any. I mean, this is all on our checklist.
I'm showing it right now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
Registration sucks. That's great. Yeah. So like, anyways,
it is after dark, Ken, and yeah.
So we've got our password comparison for constant time, and people ask me like, is constant time comparison a real thing? Yeah, it's absolutely a real thing. So
dude, I love finding that, and I have found that in recent code reviews, right? The constant time comparison. It's that one's a fun one to dig up and be like, guys, you failed because we could do X, Y, and Z, right? So yeah.
So in this case, would we look at the login controller, because the login controller doesn't really have much. That's because it's okay.
We've got that in there. Okay. Well, do you want to look at the login controller? Is that where you want to go with the authentication? So let me see.
I guess actually no. Let's not. Let's first figure out what's the login route. Where are we posting to when we post our password?
Okay. So that takes us back to web.php. And again, this is our, we're only 3 hours into this. So login route, there's get post for login, both going to the login controller. One shows the login form. And there is a log out, but they're all going to the login controller.class.
So the get shows a show login. The get request has a show login form. The post request then goes to what? Login controller.php.
Yeah. So let's pull that out. Yeah, it goes in there, but controllers, auth, login controller, extends controller, authenticate users. So it uses authenticate users, which is a, it's the Illuminate Foundation again, right? So there's probably some of that that's being like, it's middleware. There's not a lot that's here, right? Public function username, and it's redirective authenticated. That's it. But otherwise, there's not a lot to the login controller. It's using the Illuminate.
Now, is the Illuminate a library that we have to actually dig into, or is that inside of this source code?
Nope, it's a library, right? So if you go to
luckily,
laravel.com, yeah, it's all documented out there. So that's the page I'm looking at right now.
I think I actually have it downloaded, that library.
Oh.
So hold on, authenticate users.
Foundation, yep, Illuminate Foundation auth.
Yes, I think I do. Hold on. Yes, very cool.
Yeah, authenticates users. There we go. There's a redirect path. So this is all implemented by default. Show login form shows the application's login form, so we could take a look at that. Attempt login, attempts to log you. Checks to see whether user is authenticated. String username. It looks pretty straightforward, right? It's just a authenticates users class.
No, I meant like the source code. I was trying to figure out like how to.
Oh, if you.
But I think I have access to it.
Okay.
Or I mean, I think I have it downloaded. So I'm trying to search my local library that I downloaded using Composer.
Okay.
To see if I can figure out that. All right, so it's calling authenticate users from this auth. God dang it. Okay, so just why don't I share my screen and then like you can tell me. God, I've got so many things open. How do I? I don't want to do that.
You can just show you can show a window, right? Rather than the full screen.
Right. So in the code, which one am I on? Shit, I have so many screens open. Okay, so this is the whatchamacallit. That's the Illuminate Foundation auth, I think. Let me actually verify that. That's what I opened. No, I did Laravel framework source. No, so I did Illuminate auth. So this is actually a different thing. Find start grep dash I and
Illuminate, but I think that's where it was, right? That's Illuminate Foundation auth and then authenticate users.
Nope, I'm looking at the wrong. Hold on, I'm gonna not share this. Let me remove this. Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong place. That's why. I found, I think, the right file to search. So the other one's closed down. And then code that is okay. Now I think this should be what we're looking for. All right. Well, anyways, I'll share and then we can be befuddled together. Sweet. Such a good word.
Befuddle me tonight.
After dark.
After dark with absolute AppSec.
Well, shit. That's all it's got. That's weird. I thought it was gonna be more than that.
What's in there? No, it's fine. Right? Can any?
That's access. It's not authenticated. Authenticates user though.
Contracts auth. Psha, that's not what we want, Ken. Gosh.
I know. This is not at all. But this is actually, but what's funny is, hold on, let me share this too. Where's that? Share this. Oh, no, That's not what I meant to do. Share screen, window. Yeah, because when I'm doing a search, though, that's what's confusing me, I think, is that when I do this search for Illuminate, I should probably explain that. So I went through and did a find for Foundation Auth under the vendored libraries, and yeah, but like, so that would be where I would assume this would happen.
Yeah, it just doesn't look
But
like there's a lot of data in there. Yeah.
But there's no authenticates users in there. Like, we're calling it from the login controller.php. We're using it, but like, where is it coming from? How is that? I guess I'm just confused all around. Self-docs by screen share. Yep. I'm always afraid of sharing my screen, only because I have too much stuff up, and I don't know what is like going to be sensitive and what's going to be not sensitive. So, and this is, I think, like a 34-inch monitor, so it's like got a lot of space for me to look at this stuff. So there's a lot of stuff open.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But
Then you have
anyways,
multiple windows inside of that, right? That's the
right.
Yep.
Okay, so we have no fucking clue where this code is actually happening, but like, we know that it's okay.
Welcome to Secure Code Review by Seth and Ken. Yeah.
Foundation auth. I'm just gonna do what you did. I'm gonna see if I can find the actual source online.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the same doc. You want to share your screen? I'll stop trying to be cool and do mine.
That's this one, right? Is that what you're looking at? This is Authenticates user. This is just the
Yeah.
API documentation. That's all I'm looking at here, right? Is, hey, it looks like this is what it's calling to do the authentication, showing the login form. And then if I'm looking back at, that's the verification controller, kind of went out of it. The login form, right? Login.blade.php.
This has a lot of options, by the way.
Oh, it does. It does. There's quite a bit that you could do with it, which is what you would expect, right? It's an authentication framework. You want to be able to customize it for your app. So why not give you those options?
Right, but that's, I guess, what I'm right, and that's that. But what I'm thinking is, if it has this many options, like, are these so is this a configurable thing, like a config file? I guess maybe I would want to look at the
Well, and
documentation.
yeah. I haven't even looked, right?
Oh, we're on Laravel 8, right? I was looking at
Okay.
6.
Sorry, 8.
No. I'm saying I was looking at 6. I don't know what you're looking at.
That's what I was looking at too. So where did that go? Create users. Which one was I looking at? Man, authenticate users. So that's different. Ooh, so are we out of date? Like what? I thought we were at Laravel.
That's
8.
what I'm thinking. Like, that's what I thought. I think is it possible that where did we see Laravel 8 at? I know we did, because it's in our documentation that's Laravel 8, so we wouldn't have put it there if we didn't see it. Let's see here. We did say Laravel 8, right? Yeah. No, PHP 8. Laravel unspecified. Okay, that's my bad. I apologize. So we must be on Laravel at least 7 or 6. But I think it has to be 6, right? Because 7 doesn't have that.
Well, this is it, right? I'm looking at the composer.json right now for Laravel.io, and it says framework 8.75.
Oh, so it is 8.
But Illuminate. That's bizarre because it's calling in stuff from Illuminate that is. Yeah, that I can't see as existing, right? In Laravel 8.
Users. I found, thankfully, this source code. is maybe like the closest thing I can find to something we can actually look at. Let me put it in private chat.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this is one of those cases where if I was doing for those watching, if I was doing a real assessment, I would absolutely start digging into how to create. Sometimes, like depending on my time limitations, if I have like a decent amount of time, I'll maybe even try building a basic login with whatever framework
Yeah.
that I'm like super unfamiliar with. If I don't have a lot of time, then I'm just gonna look at some like videos of people doing it to get a sense for, so like when we were talking about the fact that it has a lot of options, what we meant is it has these options for like, failed login attempts, your threshold for that, all the things you can imagine as being configurable, like requiring email verification, all those things, tons of options that are available. That's what we meant, is that there's tons of configurable things baked into this. So then the question becomes like, when we do devise and Rails, usually there's a config file where you can configure there's two major things. There's a config file where you can configure some of the like the threshold count, the how long should a password or a forgot password link, or registration link, exist for or be valid for, lots of little things like that. And then there's another part, the second component, which is overriding things in. You can do it. You can override views to have your own custom login or registration forms. You can override the models so that you can have your own sort of authentication strategies. You can map to a specific model and say, look, I don't use a users table. I use a persons table or a people's table or whatever as my, like, how I track my users. And so what we're trying to establish here is what parts, if any, are in a config file, what parts, if any, are happening through some overridden strategy, and then what does this all look like end to end, and also what does the login code look like. So this is a non-trivial thing that we're trying to do. Also, we like to usually look at while we're looking at login, look at logout, make sure the actual sessions are destroyed, proper redirection occurs, is not taking user input when it performs that redirection, stuff like that. Anything else that I'm missing there, Seth?
No. Right. Like we have definitely gotten to the non-trivial portion of code review, right? Like
Yes.
I mean, I'm starting to dig into. I'm trying to look for hints as to what's actually going on. This looks promising, right? Like the config directory. We didn't note that before in the review notes, but I need to because there's so much in here that
Oh,
is related to
and there's
interesting
like
stuff, right?
multiple config directories too, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
This is
but
the
but
base one. Yeah.
base one, yeah.
So there's a web. So there's a guard around the web, which is the session. The provider is users. This is probably important, right? User providers. Okay. There's this eloquent driver. Yeah. So this is all interesting stuff. Resetting passwords, password timeouts. Yeah, I'm really interested in auth.php, and actually there's session. There's session.php in here too. Framework sessions, how sessions are being handled.
Oh, so this is dope. You can so you can have like, because I noticed they had Redis configurations, or
Mhm.
sorry, Redis things mentioned, like you can configure your Redis database if you want to use it. So that's cool. So it looks like you can actually, it's got several strategies. So you can either use an in-memory database, or you can use like files or databases. I wonder if cookie is an option for like signed cookies.
Yeah, it might be. Right. I'm looking at hashing right now, hashing.php in configuration. Looks like it's using bcrypt, right? Which is what we would expect to see in modern frameworks. But
Man, you can configure your session lifetime. You can have, I don't know what expire on close does, but okay. Session encryption, session file location. So wait, dude,
Logging.
what the? You can wait. So you can like. Oh man, that's awesome. Session database connection. So those are for like if you want to do file session, whatever. But I do. Are we saying like we're putting sessions in a file? Like that sounds super scary. If ever there's like any ability to read files off the file system.
Wait. Where are you seeing this?
I'm sorry, I'm bouncing around. You
I know.
mentioned under the config source directory the sessions.php or
Yeah.
session.php config file, and that's what I'm looking at.
Okay. Yep. Ooh, you're right. It's going to files.
Which I'm like, and then if it's not
What the?
encrypted, then what? So, and then maybe even if it is encrypted. So, like, so then possibly if you have like arbitrary file read or something, you just like have a file of sessions that are potentially valid for however long the session lifetime is configured for.
And this is
Interesting.
okay. So it defaults to whatever the environment session driver variable is. But if that doesn't exist, if they don't set it up, then it does go to file. It uses that as the default mechanism for storing sessions.
Damn. Hey, they do have support for same site cookies at the bottom, so hooray!
Hooray!
Yes,
Huzzah! Same site,
that's
but
awesome.
it's lax. So meh.
Yeah, Lax is a good. I think Lax is a good start.
It is.
And
Yeah.
Lax is oftentimes like the best way to just not have things break and still have some same site cookies. But and we're not crapping on these guys or these folks, whoever's writing this, whatever, people. But I do think question, like I absolutely do question whether it's a really good idea to have potentially sessions that you could just like access and copy into your browser and start using stored in a file in the file system.
Ooh, cookies are definitely JOTs too. GWTs.
Oh, okay. I think in our notes, I think we said something about JW. Let me go back to our notes.
I think we did. I
No?
think you're right. Now that you say that.
Actually, I don't see it mentioned anywhere here. Oh, and then for people that are curious, I think you've already shown it, but just to reiterate, under the mapping of files, that's where we put interesting files that we want to investigate in our documentation. So under here, we've got for certain auth is going to be of interest. Sessions for sure. There's a cores.php configurable one. Logging, that's going to be an interesting one. Especially for Seth.
Hey, it's the croc takes, right? That's what Aaron called it the other day.
That's a good, the croc takes. I like it. So, but
Logging,
if
yeah.
so, and in our notes, we'll have, in fact, I'll go there and do this, but I'll go into our notes and put under the session.php file, like defaults to files, to storing them in files, and your same site configuration stuff is there as well.
Yeah.
Good times. Also, code review with other people is so much better sometimes.
It is. Definitely. It does make it go a little bit easier. So, all right. So we dug into config.php a little bit, and there's cache in there too.
Yeah,
so
I think
many
the
interesting
cache
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty deep. DynamoDB. It's using a DynamoDB cache or a Redis cache are configured in there.
Oh, so you can our storage path for our sessions is going to be under framework/sessions. I'll put that in our notes. So
Okay.
Default location for files that contain sessions is framework sessions.
Man, there's a lot of environment variables that need to be set for this thing. I just, yeah, that. I always wonder if stuff like that gets missed, right? Things like, oh, I don't know, key for environment app key. I'm coming through app.php now. Okay. We need to we kind of need to reset though, right? As far as what is it?
Well,
like where do we want to go?
Yeah.
What do you want to look at? Whereas we have like half an hour or so in our session tonight left.
Yeah. So let's just for the login, let's just look real quick at the actual like login code. We had that up at one point. Just so we get a feel for what the heck is happening with login there.
Okay.
So I forget. I can't even find where I had it at. I had the source code for that somewhere.
Yeah, I've got it up right
Okay.
now.
Sweet. Don't yawn. You're going to make me yawn.
Sorry.
Hold it in. Hold the line. All right. So we do. Okay. So first we do a validate login. We can look at that in a second. If the class is using the throttles login trait. Okay. So we know that there's got to be some throttle login configuration thing that we're doing. So if we hit the throttle login trait, we can automatically throttle the login attempt. We'll try this by the username and the IP address of the client, making these requests. It's okay enough, but yeah, we don't need to go down that. If the login attempt was unsuccessful, we will increment the number of attempts to log in and redirect the user back to login. Of course, how are they incrementing the login attempts? Because sometimes people attach this to the session, and then as long as you omit the session, there's no login attempt counter. So validate logins right there. So it says this validate request, this username, required string, password required. So wait, is it just validating that you actually like have the string in there?
Yeah. Yep. That's all that does. So, and then down here, we actually do the attempt to log in, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this dot validate is a different, or this validate is a different, it's validating the request, not actually logging someone in.
Request has remember, so that must be some remember me function.
Yep. Credentials, request only, this username, password. Okay, so it's pulling back those two things.
Is that a static value of password?
What does the request look like? What is the request that's being passed in here? Oh, it's not there. Sorry.
I mean, surely it couldn't be. I mean, that would be ridiculous. Like it wouldn't work right.
Yeah. Yeah. There is web.php. Let me see under routes. Again. Login controller.class. But it doesn't seem to be. Authenticates users. That's what we're looking at.
Well, we can just like get a feel for this stuff. I just want to kind of see how it's operating to see if there's any big failed, valid exception. I guess one thing I'm curious about as we go through this. Okay, log out looked pretty good. I mean, I think. I mean, it looks like it's just invalidating the session and doing a redirect with a static value of forward slash here. But I guess the question I have is how is that get the guard to be used during authentication? Yeah, just sort of like how is it actually? Oh, sorry, there's a comment. Let me go over to that. Thinking out loud, files could be the POSIX files concept link could be backed by other underlying storage S3. It could be. Yeah, it absolutely could be. I mean, it could be like some because there is an AWS configuration for S3 option in the environment file. So it could be that. But when we looked at the static files, it was the default path was framework sessions on the file system. So yeah, I mean
that's default, but only if the environment variable is not set. So it could very well be that it's going into Redis or something else in the production instance. Because we
is
have
that
no
option.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
There's cookies and Redis database. There's multiple different options for backends. But if you don't set the environment variable, then it does go to files by default.
So to speed this all up, do you want to go look at the account edit functionality? Because I feel like there's also usually some interesting stuff that happens there. So
yeah, I always like that. I like reset password functionality too.
Yes, very much so. Whichever one you want to do, honestly, I'm game for either.
Let's dive into forgot password first.
Sweet.
Right.
I'm going to go refill my wine, though, while you're doing that.
Take a break. Take a break.
Yeah, let's see. Send password reset. See, it's all controlled again by the Illuminate Foundation. Sends password reset. Oh, that's forgot password controller. Doesn't look like there's a lot there, right? Like we could test it out pretty quickly. Forgot your password. Okay, we have to fill in an email address here. foo@bar.com. I mean, couldn't find a user with that email address, but if I do set that Seth plus secret tricky at oh, okay. So there definitely is like email address enumeration, right? And this is by default. I don't know how much we're like concerned about it.
Note it. I'll note it real quick.
Yeah, just note it. And then we can move on to the account controller because there isn't a lot of functionality in that forgot password controller, Ken. It's all the Laravel or the Illuminate Foundation stuff again.
They do use their route does have a password reset with a token and a GET request, which makes sense. But
so I'm looking at forgot password. I'm not looking at reset password. So let's switch over to that really quick because that could be interesting too.
Yeah, there's a whole password /reset and a password /reset /token.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, rules wise, it looks like there's a little bit more there. Right. Okay. Oh, I guess that's what I'm playing with is password reset, not forgot password. Oh, but how do those differ? Oh, I guess what happens if you hit that directly? Right. So there's a GET request for. Nope. Okay. The GET request is only on password /reset /token. Ooh, this is interesting.
What the fuck? Wait, can you?
What are you looking at?
Wait, but like, can you just put in any arbitrary email and reset it? Do you know what your password is?
I do. What do you mean?
Email address on here? Well, no, because look, if you go to that, that's asking for password. That's asking for a new password for an email. Oh, wait. Why is it then doing a reset password push after that?
Well,
like,
so
you know what I mean? Like normally that's not the flow.
yeah. I just put in token here, right? Instead of an actual token value. And it gave me the form, right? That's what I was looking for. So there's a hidden. Oh,
what?
There's some weird shit going on here. Let's see. Oh, jeez. I can't type.
So you should just put in a different password, obviously, than your normal one that you had. Okay.
Oh, it's appeared at a data leaks.
Oh, don't tell me this is happening right now. Jesus, we actually do have to email them then if this is the case.
This works. Okay, let me show you something different.
They have a security.markdown file, and I looked at the email address to email.
Okay.
Dude, did we really just find like in 2 episodes 2 serious flaws with their?
Nope. Okay, so at least the password.
Oh, the reset token. Okay. Bro, for a second there, I thought we had some Miflac or IDOR style or both issues. Okay.
But
Wait.
let me.
But what if it's one of those situations where the token doesn't match up? You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I do.
Let's try it. Let's try it. Okay.
Except I need a token value that's not from the account I'm currently on.
How do you? How can I help? Like, let me see here. Let me sign up. Make sure I'm signed up because I think I destroyed my account before. So, and also, I'm actually not sure I can register with my regular account because you actually. Last time I tried to, because you took it over, it was like, no, that GitHub ID is already taken. You can't. I'm like, you bastard. So hold on, let me try and log in with GitHub here. Continue. I'm going to put in a. Oh, I was able to log in. Weird. Okay.
Wait, you were?
I don't know why, but yeah, I was.
As CK Tricky?
As CK Tricky, which is weird because before I couldn't. So I don't know what changed. Okay, let me set my current password.
That's even worse from an impersonation perspective because. Ooh.
Wait, how did that even work?
Show me what you're looking at because I am really interested right now.
Yeah, hold on. Let me share my screen because this is really weird. Hold on. Gosh, I don't know how now I feel like it's just getting weirder and weirder. Oh, I have to stop the first screen. Nope, not that one. So first I have to stop and then I have to reshare. Okay. I'm learning how StreamYard works. Cool. Okay, so I went to log in. Yeah, I know, right? I signed in with GitHub, and then it said continue, and that was that, and I'm in. That's it. That's it. That's all I did. What? Whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna create a password.
So you'll notice.
What the?
Yeah, this is my account. This is my account.
Holy
shit. This
is
worse than I thought it was.
Because holy shit, that's way worse. So, oh my God, we definitely have to email them. Oh my God. So
I could
I'm already logged into
take
GitHub.
Over. Yeah.
Jesus
I could take
Christ.
over somebody else's account that's already just through that registration process.
Damn. All right. Well, let me create another account since you took over my account. And my God, wow, that's cool. So interesting. If you're not signed into GitHub and you go through that login form, you have to enter credentials. If you're already signed into GitHub and you hit the GitHub and you're signed in with this GitHub ID, then when you hit the GitHub,
it's already
there
created.
Was XS, dude. So if there was XSS anywhere in here, like in the profile view or anything that like was specific to my profile, then that means you could take over my account, introduce XSS, wait for me to log in, and boom, I'm going to get XSS'd by whatever you just put in because you own the account. You can do that. So if there was XSS and say the name function, then when I log in, I'm going to get XSS'd. So fantastic.
And I think as well, right? If you've only ever used the GitHub login feature, that I could access your account. I'm
clearly because you set the password for it.
No. Like, so if I go to somebody that's never set up a password in Laravel.io, I could set a password for basically anyone if they're only using GitHub to log in through that registration flow process. Like it's much worse. So if I identify one of those, how far down this rabbit hole do we want to go, Ken? Because if I identify, let me just look. Hold one of the forum users, right? Whatever. They're
I think
logged
the
in.
reason we didn't detect that on the last episode is because I might have been signed out of GitHub. And I was trying to
Well,
register.
it didn't matter because I was just trying to like
No,
impersonate you.
I know why it didn't work last time, Seth. I just realized because last time I created my account, then you created your account with the GitHub ID, and then it caused an issue with the account. So then
Yeah.
I forget what I did, but I think I like destroyed whatever I had set up, and then you've already taken over that GitHub ID. So then when so basically anybody who has not yet set up an account and then later tries to log in with GitHub and is already logged into GitHub and accesses this site, you could literally just create an account for every user ID of any popular PHP folks or whatever, and then when they go to log in, if they haven't created an account, then you have an account takeover. You already own the account, right?
Yeah. Well, okay.
There's two ways to do it. There's the username and password, and
then there's the GitHub. What I'm saying is, there's these cases where the login process, if someone has only ever used GitHub to log in, I should be able to use their GitHub ID and GitHub username to set their password through the registration process and access their account.
Oh shit, you're right. I bet you that's right.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because
okay, so I have a test account. Do you want me to try this, and I'll give you the GitHub ID and all that stuff?
Yeah. Let's try it out because I mean, yeah.
This is.
I started to look at the admins on Laravel.io as well because that could be. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I'm all excited. This is awesome.
All right.
I may have to get another. Yeah, here, I gotta grab my other laptop.
Okay. All right. You keep doing that. I gotta check in really quick with family, and then I'll be right back.
Perfect. Cool. Okay? All right. Yep. I'll make some hold music for people.
Yep.
Yeah. Real. Okay. So. Ooh, this is gonna be cool. I'm super stoked about this. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be great. If this is true, though, we gotta contact them pretty much immediately. So, all right. And I don't think I fully appreciated quite how terrible this really is. Where's my auth code? All right, so. There. Okay, now Laravel Io. All right, authorized. All right.
Do.
Hey.
Okay, what do we got?
I just have to figure out my ID. That's all, and then I'll give it to you. I just created an account using it. It did make me go through the registration process, which is fine, but
Did you set a password there or not?
no, I didn't set any password. It just was like asking for email and you like a user. Just showed the username, the email, and name. Right.
Okay.
So sorry. Let me. Yeah, I actually need to get my. I'm going to give you my client ID here in a sec. I'm sure there's a simpler way to do this, but whatever. It's easy for me. Cool. And then we want to look at all right.
Yeah, Hitty Pony. Extra drinks are always required when we do After Dark episodes. That's
Absolutely. All right. I think this should be my ID, I think. So let me give it to you in chat here. Jesus, where I have totally lost track. Okay, here we go. I think that's it. That should be it. Yeah.
what's the GitHub username there?
Let me put it in there. There you go.
Okay. It's just your test account.
Man.
Let's see. So let's see what happens. Registration flow.
Yeah. Let me remove my screen there, and so we can add yours in.
Okay.
The username is not with a 2, though. I don't know if you're doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yes.
I know that's just the username that I'm trying to create the account with for Laravel.io because I'm pretty sure. Well, I guess I can try it. It's whatever, right?
It probably will. You're right. It's probably a conflict. There's probably some unique on that.
Yeah,
column.
I think there is. So if I try that, we already found a user.
Found
Yeah.
user. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So let's see. But that's just it.
Obviously, there's username enumeration too. So
yeah. Nope.
All right. So
let's see. Hold on. I'm going to try this again. Let's see if it pulled this back. Yeah. So it pulled my ID and password here. So I got to pull those again. And there's ways to look.
And you've cleared your session, right? Like so that it's not.
Yeah. Yep.
Like,
I'm logged out.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep. Right. So it's pulling those from. Like it keeps doing the request back to GitHub to pull my info because it doesn't exist there. Yeah, let's see what happens here. So it does. So it did not allow me to take that over.
No, but you had to have before. That's why I'm like.
No, because you deleted your account. So I was able to create one with your username. But then you're
that's the interesting
also,
when I.
Yeah, you're also able to access it.
Okay, so let's do this instead. Let's do this. I'm going to delete my account off here. My theory is that when I delete my account, because it does have a delete account function. All right, deleting your account will remove any. Okay, cool. Where's the button? Oh, there we go. Okay, delete account. All right, my account's deleted. So you register in with that, and then I think what's going to happen is you're going to be able to register. When I go to log in with GitHub, you own my account, basically. So we'll see what happens here.
Well, yeah, that's. I mean, honestly, that's what we've already shown, right?
Right. I just want to.
You want to
Just because it was a lot of it was done in the last episode, I just want to make sure end to end, like we test it again, just to be sure that assumption's correct.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So I created Seth Foo, which is
Okay.
cktricky-test.
Now let's see.
At this point, too, I should be able to set a password. Oh yeah, see, there's no password, right? So I can set this before you get to it.
Okay.
But you can also log in.
Okay. All right. You want me to share my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me share this screen.
Yeah. So I created that, right?
All right. So I just want to verify this. That's all.
So now if you log in with GitHub, yeah, using the cktricky.
Nice. Nice.
So
sweet. Okay. So I didn't have to do anything.
No.
So now there's password authentication and there's also SSO authentication here, which is all right. So, geez, man, that's crazy.
Now, the other thing that this proves is that if someone has an account on Laravel.io, or is that even possible? I don't think you can't create an account on Laravel.io without GitHub. So never mind. I was thinking that there was an edge case that if I created one there, we could or deleted the GitHub username associated with it. We could take it over, right, pretty easily because we could register a GitHub username. Yeah. But like, what about like the URLs, right? Like Twitter is an href tag. Remember what we were talking about with the cross-site scripting? Or any of these URLs? Yeah. So you can't reset the password because you don't know what it is, right?
That's messed up and hilarious. API tokens. Cool. So this would be of interest. This was the next area we were kind of going to dig into, which was our updating of our and then there's actually like several endpoints represented here. There's the update profile endpoint, an update password, and a generate new token. So this is interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so there's a settings endpoint, profile settings. There's an API token endpoint as well. Just looking at web.php, like the routes.
Yeah.
We didn't even get into forums and other things, man. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some authorization stuff there, but
nope. Yeah.
Profile settings
yeah.
controller. Where's profile settings?
Oh, I'm still sharing my screen. I was like, yeah. Cool. Well, I kind of want to dig into, like, I don't know, how much longer do you want to go? Because I could dig into a little bit this updating of the profile, because I'm always curious if there's some way to, okay, so it's a put request. All right, put request, okay. Settings, okay. Oh, sorry, post.
Well, okay,
dude, they do the same thing Rails does, don't they?
What are you saying? What does Rails do, Ken?
Oh, I should explain that. Yeah, so Rails, this is clearly a post request to, this specific action, meaning it's going to send a post request to /settings, but there's going to be two parameters sent in that post request that are hidden on the page. Again, Seth already knows all this, but I'm just listening for everybody else. One of them is going to be the token value, presumably some CSRF token thing there. Obviously, we would normally validate the CSRF token functionality is working. In any case, this second one's interesting, though, because it's underscore method. Now, Rails does this weird thing where put, patch, and delete They're all actually post requests. So when you actually capture it in your proxy like burp or zap, it'll look like a post request. But because of that underscore method parameter with a value of, in this case, put, the framework will actually interpret it as a put request. This is it's like a weird, super weird nuance within some frameworks. I to this day thought it was Rails only. Thought Rails was the only one that does that, but now we can include Laravel in that list. So that's interesting. Is Laravel like the attempt to be like Rails, but in PHP? Is that what we're kind of coming to the conclusion of here, I think, in the way it's all structured and very opinionated and all that?
It is very opinionated, right? Like I've seen multiple different apps that are written in Laravel because it does allow for quick iterations and because it is opinionated. So it's an attempt at Rails style opinionated framework for PHP.
That's pretty and actually in looking at the and looking at the actual directory structure, at looking how things are set up, it absolutely does look like a PHP version of Rails. So this is making a lot of sense. And Blade is like Erubis, or ERB if you're familiar with that.
I wonder.
So now I'm curious about, okay, so where's the profile update endpoint at? Let's go back to the routes. Where were they defined at?
Routes are defined under, well, there's routes web.php, right?
Okay. All right, so web.php under routes. So then we want to go to, there is a put and it's to settings and that goes, oh, am I not sharing my screen? I'm not. Or
no,
you
you're
can,
not
whoever.
right now. Go for it.
Let me share that. Sorry, but my eyes aren't what they were, so this font is freaking huge. But there we go. Okay, so anyways, route put settings, profile settings controller. Please don't be some abstracted bullshit. I'd love to see something custom here.
Oh, dude. I just found something awesome.
Did you really? Oh, let's go to your screen then. Do you want me to just add yours to the stream, or are you gonna want to add it?
Go ahead and okay. So I'm looking at update password request, right? There's a pass check rule in here. Current password. You'll notice there's this sometimes on the rules that it's sometimes required, so it doesn't have to be there. My thought, yeah, because you don't have to have a password set, right? Like you log in through GitHub, a password is not currently in the database. But the rule, yes. Okay, so I was like, wow, that's weird, right? Like, so what happens? What happens if I just don't pass in a current password? Because when I initially go to this screen, it doesn't exist on the form, right? It doesn't exist. And so I was like, well, let's just give it a shot, right? Let's just inspect, find the current password input. I was like, I'm being lazy. I'm just going to delete it, right? And then I'm just going to go test. Yeah, I'm setting up another password, right? Something that isn't my current password. Update. Woohoo!
Well, hold on. Okay, so then, well, shit. What did the request contain? It just the password, right? It was tied to a session. It wasn't like giving it a username or some arbitrary stuff that you could just like. You could potentially set anybody's password, right? If that was the case.
I don't know. Let's look and see. Hold on. Where's my actual request?
My God, this is amazing.
Okay, payload here. There's a put request. Okay, there's the password that I set, right? Whoopee. But it does have a token. It doesn't actually have. Yeah. It's tied to the session.
Well, at least that's a positive, but that does beg the question of where else are we doing? Yeah.
Okay, so
know.
but if I look at this update password request, right, that's the rules. I wonder where else this is actually like this sometimes, right, is being used. Man, I feel like this could be bigger than just Laravel.io because that's a pass check rule. This is probably coming from Illuminate as, hey, when you want to set the password, this is what is required. Man,
my friend, that is a good find. let's just call it what it is. That's a good find. That's awesome.
So if you can get access to somebody's session, you can update their password without knowing what their current password is because of this sometimes. Yeah, I really want to
awesome.
see Illuminate. What is that? Illuminate what? Validation rules password. Yeah, I've got real questions about this Illuminate framework after looking at Laravel.
Oh, yeah. No question. Okay, I think I might have found an update under the profile controller.php route, by the way. But yeah, no, this is like, man, geez. Just wow.
There's no password in here. Rules. Database rules.
Oh, that's what it was, man. If I go up to I'm getting really tired. So yeah, if you look at here, real quick, look here. See that they just renamed basically profile controller as profile settings controller. So then under the profile controller, there is an update, edit, and destroy function here.
Mm-hmm.
So, however, so they're doing an update profile from request, which would be called from app jobs. Shit, that's not what I meant to do. All right, so from, oh gosh, where am I? There we go. And then what was it? You can tell between the wine and also I didn't tell you, but I started my day off for like 5.5 hours straight of or did I tell you that? I might have told you that. I started with like 5.5 hours straight of code review with not because I wanted to, so we'll put it that way. But anyways,
incident response code review is a different beast, right?
It's a different level of stress and focus, so ending the day. So on that note, but this is the thing I was trying to figure out. So the attributes are an array. Okay, so it's because I was like concerned about mass assignment, obviously, but they are saying that these are the only attributes that are allowed. It looks like so: name, email, username, GitHub username, bio, and Twitter. I was hoping there was going to be like obviously some admin column or something that you could like when we go to update, maybe do like admin equals true in the profile update request, and then we get like administrative rights or something. But sadly, a little bit of a dead end there on that.
Yeah, that's okay. Hence that
Okay.
code review is dead end after dead end, and once in a while you find something cool, right? That's
now all along we will normally be updating our notes for each route, like including this route and saying, okay, we looked at it, nothing vulnerable. Do you want me to share your screen, Seth?
My connectivity died for some reason. Damn it. I can't see the session right now.
Okay.
I don't know why. That sucks. Hold on. I'll bring it back up. And then we can share it again. But yeah.
So if you change the email address, they set it to an email address that's different, and they set it as verified null. That makes sense. Hopefully event is a logging event, because this actually would be a good time to log an event whenever someone changes something like that.
Yeah.
But I have to say, sadly, this looks pretty good at a first glance. Sadly, or
Did you cancel the live share?
Oh, you're not seeing my screen?
Oh no, I'm trying to reconnect. I can see
code
it. You're good.
spaces. Oh, actually, wait a second. My code space died. I think it was an inactivity.
Okay, that's why.
I'm restarting it. Sorry.
Nope, no worries. It died on me. It said it couldn't connect, and I was just going to go update our documentation, but that's fine.
Man, Daniel, you're a trooper for staying with us on this.
You are.
And anybody else who's watching, you're troopers. Cool. So anyways, that was that one. Or that was the settings. That was the put settings. So nothing cool there. I guess we look at the other stuff here. Where was that put? Right. And so this would be like when I would start to look at the password update, since that's the other thing on that page. Like if I actually
I already short circuited that one. That's what I went into, right? That's where I found that password controller. So
giving people sort of an idea where we're at. This was the profile update. So that put to settings. This is what Seth looked at, the password update, which is where he found that you don't actually have to put in a current password, which is hilarious. Just incredible and really funny. And then the last one was just generating a new token. So let me do that too.
That one could be interesting because that looked custom, right? That token controller.
Okay, cool. So now I have so there's a render the token, enter a name associated with the token, and then delete the token. We can add more. Okay, so let me see if, oh, right. Sorry, stop sharing that screen. Share the code to look at the API token controller fun stuff. All right, so there are two things we're interested in. There's a post to API tokens.store and so delete and store, I guess, is the two main functions we're looking at there.
Yeah.
So here in store, create API token request. Okay, well, we would have to look at basically this, whatever that is. So this is under app HTTP requests.
Yeah, my question there was the request name, right? What happens if I'm logged in as somebody else and use the same name, right? Like it should be tied. It should be unique per user, but you never know.
Well, why don't you use my other account? Set up a token.
I have two. That's right. I have the other account to use.
So use my other account, log in there, and then try to use Golden Ticket as an API token name. It's Golden Ticket. Let
Edit
me
profile.
add your screen there.
Go for it. Yep. It's just Golden Ticket, right?
Yep.
Been right. I didn't have a problem with it. So
okay, cool. Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's API tokens.
So that's not
really
actually
the authentication. That wasn't super interesting.
Oh, I was looking in the wrong place. I'm sorry. I actually need to look at app jobs create token. That's the actual create API token is the actual
app jobs create API token. Yep.
Yeah. And then this user create token, which is, where the fuck is that coming from?
It just does this user create token. right? So it's calling user, which is the app model user.
I was thinking, but I don't see create token defined in any user model, unless I'm.
There's a call to Laravel Sanctum has API tokens. Man, there's so many different third-party libraries. Again, welcome to code review, right? Like,
oh, in the user model is what you're saying.
yeah, and the user model, Laravel Sanctum.
Jeez.
It's a featherweight authentication system for SPAs. So that's what's handling the API token creation.
So use Laravel Sanctum has API tokens is where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
So
that
it's
would be
not
create
again.
token
It's not
under that library.
It's not custom.
Sanctum has these. The
Yeah,
create token method returns a Laravel Sanctum new access token instance. Yeah, there's like tutorials on this.
This is it right here, right? There's this app http kernel.php file, right? That I think we probably need to note. We probably should have noted it earlier. But this is a lot of definition.
No, you did note this.
Oh, I did.
Yeah,
okay,
you noted it as an interesting file to review.
Yeah. Yep.
I know because I was reviewing the show notes from last time, or the notes from last time and from last show, and saw that.
Guest reader authenticated. Yeah, it was just saying that's where Sanctum should be set up if it's. I don't even see it in there. Middleware. Yeah, it's not in there. So, however, these guys decided to do it, they're not using Sanctum from within here, but they are using it to generate some of those tokens, right?
All right. However, I'm really unsure how that's working.
Front end requests. Huh. Personal access token. Oh, crap. We were somewhere else, and then I jumped into that, didn't I? We were in jobs.
Oh yeah, no, because we started in HTTP because there was two references. There was the HTTP reference, which did nothing, and then there was the jobs, which actually did something, but it did something that's abstracted where I have no freaking clue where. Wait, so where ID? Wait, so what if what if you can just delete the token ID for me? Like, what's the token ID in the source form?
Oh, let me see. Let me jump back over there.
Oh, dude, I think actually it. Okay, hold on. It may actually be that. Okay, so method delete ID value of 8. I have a value of 8. What's yours?
Mine
10.
is 10.
So change it to 8 and try to delete it.
Idor. Anyone? All right. Hey, the token still exists to me. Refresh.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna share my screen, and because I want to do this live if it works. So share my screen, window, settings, Laravel. Okay, right now I still have my token. And this is where I looked in the source to find out that it's a value of 8. Let's refresh and see if it's still there. Still there.
It's still
Wait
there.
a second. No. Why do I have a test token there?
Oh, I created that one when I was still logged in as you. So that
when you're still logged in as me. Okay. So, but you're not logged in as CK Tricky Test right now, right?
Oh, I'm logged in as CK Tricky.
So how did you create?
No, I did it before I logged out and logged back in.
Oh, okay. Well, let me try and okay, so inspect this element just to be because
it is based on the handle is based on user tokens, right? Not just so. Yeah.
Okay.
But just the fact that it is the ID of 10.
Yeah.
I really want to get into authorization on articles and this is the next progression. We're going to have another one of these, Ken.
I know this has got to continue. I mean, I'm probably coming to the tail end of my effectiveness at this point. You know, I will be honest. I've been at code review since 9 o'clock this morning. So,
well, and
I'm on 13 and a half
I,
hours of this, or 14 and a half hours of this. So I'm a little smoked.
Fried.
Yeah.
And this is, honestly, we talk about it in the course, right? Like snippets of, doing it when you're effective. And once you start to fill that tail, it's time to stop and come back to it the next day, right? Or the next time. But I do feel like we've got authentication pretty well wrapped up, at least those typical authentication endpoints. But I do
think we still need to look at the forgot password stuff. And I apologize for interrupting, but I still think we didn't really explore the forgot password token aspect of all this super far. Because I have this suspicion that the token is not tied to a specific user. So
yeah, we didn't. Well, hold on, let's see, because this CK tricky test I think is tied to my Gmail, right? So let me generate a token. Oh wait, you generate a token.
Is it my email address that it has?
No, it's not. Never mind. Let me generate a token.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing as we
I'm gonna sign out right here, and I'm gonna log in. Forgot my password. Actually, I think I put that in as.
And so that we clarify what we're doing, we've seen in the past where you enter in your email address, you get a token sent to that email address. Then you use that token at like the reset, what was it, like password reset token endpoint. So you give it a valid token, but then what we noticed was when you go to that token endpoint, it actually asks you for your email, which is an indicator that that token is maybe not tied to an email address. So what we're saying is it's possible that the token, as long as you send the token to your email address, go to that endpoint, and the system's like, well, that's a valid token, great. And then you give it a different person's email address and set their password.
So this is just it. So I'm using this Gmail account. The token that was generated was for CK Tricky, but this email address is actually the CK Tricky-test account. Oh, it's saying it's invalid.
Ooh, okay. And it may be tied to a user, but it's worth, and I know this is a source code thing, but we're just trying to speed some of this up.
Yeah.
Which is, to be honest with you, 100% what also happens during source code reviews. Like sometimes you install it locally or you have a staging app running and you're bouncing between your code and validating assumptions. So it's not like this is not within the realm of what's normal. Even though we usually like to be purist with source code, this is pretty close to reality.
I'm pulling another one because I did that one a while ago. So I want to make sure that.
Oh, gotcha. You get a new token.
Yeah, I just generated a new token. So I'm not
expired.
Mm-hmm. The guts. Apparently, I don't know how to Gmail anymore at this point. So.
Me either. Count me in the same.
Okay. Copy link address. All right. So here's the new token value. See what happens. Nope. Okay. So they are doing validation.
Okay,
They're doing
cool.
email to token validation. Cool. Boo.
Hey, I forgot to show you something from my since we're about at the tail end of this. From my adventure to Mexico in the last couple of weeks, I brought back something that I thought was very representative of myself. Nice little mohawk sugar skull.
Sweet.
To match the mohawk. And you know, I love purple. That's my favorite color. So yes.
Nice.
Oh shit, I just gave away a security question now.
Purple. Everybody noted. Purple. Sweet.
Yeah, that's one of my that's I'm proud of that purchase. So.
All right. So next up for Laravel.io, we have authorization, but we already have a good couple of findings. Ken, I want to make sure that we document the current password not required finding. Maybe I'll go in and do that. I can't connect to that session anymore, the live share. So
okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to share it with you anyways, but if you don't get to it, cool. Let me send it in private chat so I don't give it to the whole world. Since I've definitely done that before.
Let's see. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Except somebody could probably pick it up there, right? I don't know. Probably. Yeah.
I mean, I think you said in the podcast yesterday that every app you go to has some vulnerability, period. Yep. And I agree with that. So could be small, could be many, could be some, not a whole lot, but it has a vulnerability.
The X password, current password not required. Password bypass. Set password without providing current password. Sometimes and I want to put a little bit more documentation in there on where we found it. Update password request. Let's see, do I even have, I don't know if I've got like the GitHub reference here. I don't know if I can pull that out of the live share. So
I'm sorry. What do you need from the live share? The actual permalink?
Yeah. Do you know how to get the permalink out of here?
Yeah. So you highlight the line, do right click and do copy as, and then you should have a permalink. Copy.
Awesome. That's what I wanted.
Woo-hoo. You're welcome. For everybody who wanted to know how to do permalinks. What's funny is this morning, that was actually an issue I had because I was groggy and it was like first thing in the morning, I was trying to pass around permalinks from code spaces. And I was like, wait, how do I do this? And then I just figured it out and it was fine. But I was stumped for like 20 minutes or something. I mean, it's not like I was working on the problem for 20 minutes, but I was annoyed for about 20 minutes as I occasionally would try to copy a permalink.
We did check password hashing mechanisms. This was bcrypt. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So we've got both of those in there. The current password bypass, the user impersonation finding. Right. Like we should probably put in where this one's at too. Just so we remember, because that was the register request, right? Yep. Sweet. Copy as. I'll do the same thing now that I know where it's at.
Man, this has been a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun tonight, dude. I enjoy these. Like, we only didn't do them because the holidays and vacation and stuff. But man, these are fun.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a pretty good list of stuff going on.
Isn't it weird how like when people aren't paying you to do something, it's like fun? What the fuck messed up psychology is that?
I know. We're like, ooh, look at what we found. This is amazing.
Yeah. But then people pay you, you're like, oh, I'm garbage. I'm terrible. I shouldn't do this anymore.
You're finding critical vulnerabilities. It took me 4 hours to find that one. I suck.
I'm getting rusty. Yeah. No, man, that's awesome. I hope that Laravel appreciates this. I think I'm not going to write this up tonight, but tomorrow we can certainly let them know what we found.
Yeah,
on
let's do that.
Their security.md has it's like a hello@laravel.io or something email address that we can contact and let them know that's like, and they may just be like, and this is the other depressing part is sometimes they're just like, meh. I mean, we think this is and know this is not great, but sometimes developers don't agree. So we'll see what happens there. We'll keep people posted.
Yeah, and, well, you know what they actually say.
They're probably awesome people who are going to respond well to it.
Where did you see that? You said it was on Laravel.io?
It's in the source code. It's under security.md. Oh, it's under a dot file, I think, actually. It's under they did it weird. It was like under it's under .github. So if you go to .github folder.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
Then you see it.
Oh, crap. Don't disclose security related. Well, we found it very heavy a code review. We'll send him across, boys. Don't worry about it. Sweet.
Well, you're not putting. Yeah, sorry. It's not like we're trying to crap on anyone. We're just trying to do something interesting. So, to be clear, cool framework. Not trying to say anything about that. It's just more of like, here is a framework. We're going to dig into it. So that's what we did.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else for tonight?
Next Tuesday, we have got a guest. And the Tuesday after that, it's going to be Neil Matatal for the podcast. And I think we're going to continue doing these episodes after dark because they're super friggin' fun. I love it. So, yeah. Anything you got?
No. I just super fun. So we'll do it again because, yeah, it's a nice little high. It's good relaxation. It's weird. You're right.
It is weird. If you're a psychologist minor out there or major, tell us why this is more fun in our off time than when we get paid for it, and what that's about. So
anyway, all right. Well, yeah, exciting tonight. We will see everybody next week on normally scheduled podcast hours, but watch out for another After Dark. Watch out for another After Dark episode as presented by Absolute AppSec as desired. Yeah.
NPR Seth.
NPR Seth signing off.
All right. Thank you, everyone. This is fun.
Yep. Thanks for joining. We'll see everybody soon.